What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. It is good to see you guys. We got some big news from the NFL and from the New York Jets. Jamison Crowder is already agreed to a restructuring of his contract. So I thought I'd hop on real quick and just get what you guys thought, your thoughts. My general thought is that it's a huge move for the Jets. It allows them the ability to keep the strength of the team right now. I think the wide receiver room is one of if not the strongest position groups on the football team. And excuse me, I'm just having my lunch, so I'm a little full in the throat here. But yeah, it just allows the team to be flexible. Now they can go after Morgan Moses. They don't have to worry about, having to give him a contract. They can go out and get themselves a backup quarterback. Maybe they trade for Nick Foles. Maybe they sign Robert Griffin III. We don't know what they're going to do for that position. But again, this move, it allows them to have more cap space. They already had the most cap space in the NFL before this move. So it just creates even more cap space for them. And so right now, in my mind, the move that everybody should be kind of, having their fingers crossed for is Morgan Moses. And I feel like if we can get him back, if we can get him into the building, we have truly a really solid shot at being awesome on offense. I mean, we have a really good offensive line now. We've got Becton, who if he's healthy, he's dominant. We've got Elijah Vera-Tucker. Connor McGovern's back this season. We would then have Morgan Moses on that right side, and he is one of the best run blockers in the NFL last year. I think I read something online. He was the 8th best run blocker in the entire National Football League last season. So it would be dominant to have a running game, to have our offensive line leading the way with this running game and this new scheme that we're going to be running. Yeah, it is. It's great news. That's how I take it too. And it's simple. It's simple news. There's not a lot to talk about. But I'm just super fired up about it. I just think it makes a huge, huge difference for the team to have this extra cap space. That's how I see it too, Anthony Galeras. He says, I think McGovern is going to be much better this year. Yes. And he played better at the end of last year. He had started to kind of hit his rhythm. Excuse me. And I think that this scheme, I think it fits him well. I think he's going to be able to do, he's going to be able to move quite nicely in this offense. He's going to be able to pull and to get on the move here. Let's see. Moses, I believe, is a top 20 ranked tackle overall last year, left or right. Yes. And keep in mind, he was the 8th best as far as the running game goes. But I believe he was no slouch against the pass. I think it was something like he was the 17th best offensive tackle versus the pass, protecting the quarterback. So I'm pretty excited. And I think John Maroon, he brings up a great point here. This is the move that I expect to see happen next. I really believe that this move is going to trickle down now to Marcus May. I think Marcus May is going to get himself an extension. I would be shocked if it were a mega deal. I don't think they're going to be signing him to a 4 to 5 year contract. I think the more likely thing is they extend him to maybe like a 2 or 3 year contract and paying him a good amount of money. And what's nice is the Jets will be able to maneuver that contract however they see fit. They can front load it. They can back load it. They can give themselves more cap space this year and roll it into the next year. So there's lots of flexibility. But this is the move that I'm really hoping to see happen maybe within the next week or so is Marcus May re-signing and getting a deal done. Let's see here. Anthony Galeros says, and yes, I think LaFleur's offense fits McGovern perfectly. That's how I see it. And when you've got Becton, AVT, and McGovern all three side by side, that's a really respectable and very young and talented offensive line there. So I have no doubts that if we can get Morgan Moses in the building, we're going to have a really good shot to get this offensive group going. Payo Time, who is a new subscriber, he says, hey, is this a little disrespectful to Crowder from the Jets? He has been their best receiver the past few years. Just curious. Good question. No, it's not disrespectful. I was worried when I saw the news that they were going to ask him to take a 50% pay cut. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is the Jets held and hold all the leverage in this situation. They owed him absolutely no guaranteed money, and he was not going to make Crowder was not going to make 10 million on the open market. If he had been cut, there was no way he was going to get that money. It would have been somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range. And my guess is the Jets probably saved a couple million by doing this move. And it's good for Crowder. I think that's the thing that people aren't realizing. Like, yeah, he's taking a pay cut here, but he's not only is he staying, with the current team that he's on, not having to look for a job, but he's also going to be one of those players that they're going to count on, and they're going to rely on this coming season to be a veteran in the group. And I just feel good about it. And I think Crowder benefits. He's going to be 28 years old in, free agency next season. So he's not an old man. This contract, that he's got this year is not going to screw him over. He's going to be able to hit free agency again after this season. So no, I don't think it's disrespectful. And I'm so glad that they got it done. I was going to be really upset if Joe Douglas didn't work this out, so we could keep him on the team. Anyways, we got some new faces in here. Let's see. John Maroon. He says that's 13 to 14 million annually, and he'll be locked up until he's 30. I think you're talking about Marcus May. I don't feel comfortable giving him 13 to 14 annually. I think that's a little high. I think right now on the tag he's making like 11 or something like that. So I would not pay him more this season to get him extended. But you never know. They might want to lock him up, and that could work. Do we add a veteran cornerback? John Maroon, thanks for the question. I do. I've been saying it all along. I've wanted the Jets to sign either Steve Nelson or Richard Sherman. I think that when you consider how young our cornerback room is, and even the secondary in general, we've got multiple rookies, a bunch of guys coming back, on their second and third years in the NFL. I think right now the cornerback room, everybody is 25 years of age or younger. So getting a veteran in here, it's not really necessarily, we got to sign a cornerback because we need somebody to play cornerback one. We need we need better depth. It's not really like that. It's more about getting somebody in there to help to mentor these young players because they need some help. All right. Let's see. If we sign Moses, what do you think happens with Fant? That's a great question. Some people have suggested that they move Fant to guard. I don't love that idea. I think I would rather just keep Fant as a backup because, again, right now we're dealing with, Mekhi Becton, who's dealing with some sort of, plantar fasciitis in his foot. It's not a serious injury. It's not going to require surgery. But I think having a backup is a good thing. Having Fant as your backup would be excellent. And, that's how I see it. I think you just keep him as the backup, let Morgan Moses play on the right side, and don't force, Fant to change positions. It's a little late anyway at this point to be doing that, I think. That's just my take. Good question. Yeah, Crowder had no guaranteed money. He was the 16th highest cap hit amongst all wide receivers. Okay, yeah, so that's even more telling, and that just shows you how bad of a contract that was from Mike McCagnon. Yeah, dude, no problem. Thanks for coming by and stopping by. I appreciate the question. If you guys have not hit the like button on this, go ahead and do so. I'd appreciate it. Let's see. Anthony Galero says, with Crowder taking the pay cut, do you think we name him a captain? I like that question. That's a good one. I have to think about that. I would say, yeah, why not? We have Corey Davis on the roster. He's new to the team, so I would be sort of surprised if he was named a captain. We don't have very many veterans on the offensive side right now, so I would say absolutely consider making Crowder a captain on the team. And really, he's going to be a leader, guys. He's going to be counted on to help mentor some of these younger guys. We have, Elijah Moore, obviously. Braxton Berrios is still on the team. Mims. We need somebody in there who's a veteran who can, help to be a leader on the offense. So absolutely, I'm cool with that. That's a good idea too. I like the question. All right, let's see. There's some other vet corners available that would be cheaper. Brashad Breeland, Garyon Conley. Not saying I want them, but there are other veteran options. And I think that's a fair point to make. And I think that's the reason why people like Richard Sherman and Steve Nelson are still sitting there, because nobody's really aggressively searching for cornerbacks right now in the NFL. That's why you see all of these names sitting there, because nobody's really looking. Nobody's shopping for a cornerback right now. You know, we're sitting right now in the month of June, and teams are just trying to see what they have on their rosters. So there's no rush to sign one. However, I agree. We need to bring at least one veteran in. I would say hopefully by the time minicamp is over, not OTAs, because that part's already done. I think once minicamp is over, then you really need to get aggressive and get yourself a veteran corner on the team. For backup QB, who do you prefer? Foles over all else? Oh, man. So if it had been me, if I were Joe Douglas, I would have gone pretty aggressive for Nick Mullins. Now, I know he was just signed by the Eagles. So at this point, yeah, I think it's Nick Foles or bust for me personally. I don't hate the idea of Robert Griffin coming as a backup. I don't know how much he offers, though. And as far as like, you know, being a veteran leader, mentoring a quarterback, maybe he'd be great at it. I don't know him well enough to be able to say that for sure. With Foles, I feel like he has seen enough in the NFL that he can be a really good veteran leader for Zach Wilson. He has been to a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to the playoffs. He's been kicked out of the playoffs. He's had bad seasons. He's had excellent seasons. He's kind of been all over the place. He's moved around team to team. He's had low expectations and high expectations. So having somebody who has really, truly gone through the NFL gauntlet and experienced what the NFL is like, I feel like Nick Foles would be a tremendous backup and veteran leader for Zach Wilson to learn from. So yeah, I'm all aboard the, trade for Nick Foles, or you could really just sit tight, because I don't think the Bears are going to keep him. They've got Justin Fields. They've got Andy Dalton, who they just signed. I don't think the Bears are keeping Nick Foles and those other two that I mentioned. So there's a chance that if the Jets just kind of sit tight here, they might be able to get Nick Foles, as a free agent. The Bears might cut him. And maybe that's why the Jets are sitting still and not really doing anything for that backup spot. Maybe they don't want to make a trade for a veteran quarterback. They just want to wait till, maybe some cuts happen. All right, cool. Let's see. John Snow, he says, Fant has played both sides in Seattle as well, but he signed with the Jets under the assumption that he would be able to focus on one position. This is true. However, at this point, if we were able to land Morgan Moses, that's kind of like the Crowder situation. He doesn't really have, any control over what they decide to do, with, how he's used on the team. He might become upset, but again, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on. He's a backup, in that circumstance. So I don't think it would be a problem. I think it could work out. Let's see here. Payo time. He says, I'm just thinking for Wilson to have any kind of rookie success. Crowder is an important player for the Jets, even though apparently Moore has been great in OTAs. 100% agreed. And that's been kind of my message all offseason. I loved the idea of maybe moving on from Crowder if they were to have signed Curtis Samuel from the Panthers. That was really the only scenario where if they had signed him, I would have been okay with cutting him. But at this point in the offseason, we now know the dust has kind of settled at this point. We know who our quarterback is. We know what our offensive line is. We know our weapons. Having the depth, the veterans, the young players, the explosive players, all that mixture that we have in the wide receiver core, I think it benefits the one person the most. That's Zach Wilson. And so 100% agree. Having the depth, we won't have to go into weeks where William Cager and Vincent Smith are our starting wide receivers. We're going to be able to have depth now. So even if, let's say, worst case scenario, Corey Davis and Denzel Mims, they both get hurt, they're out for a couple of weeks, it would suck. Our offense, it will take a hit. There's no doubt about it. But we won't be in a dissolute situation where we're starting these undrafted free agents. We're still going to have players to put in the lineup. And that's kind of how I look at it. So, yeah, absolutely think Crowder staying on the team was the right move. And I would have been pretty concerned if they had moved on from him. All right, cool. This is fun stuff. I haven't done too many during the day, the work day streams, but I had a chance. I had lunch, so I figured I'd hop on with you guys. Yeah, no worries, John. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. If anybody's watching this now and they are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are going to give away this free mini helmet that was signed by Wayne Chrebet. We're going to give this away on September 1st once we hit 1,000 subscribers. This morning I've been sitting at 799, so that's getting on my nerves a little bit. So if anybody wants to do me a favor and get us to 800, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's see. Anthony Galero says he does not want Rashad Breeland. And I have to do my research on him. He's kind of bounced around a little bit. And that's what Jon Snow is saying. He's saying he doesn't really want them necessarily, just that they're out there and available. They are cheaper options as well. So I guess the one thing I'll ask before I go here, guys, and I have a couple minutes still, what are you expecting from the offense if we are able to sign Morgan Moses? That's kind of the move that I'm crossing my fingers on right now. We've got Jamison Crowder now on the team for 21. He's not going anywhere. I hope that they can make a move to keep Marcus May, at least for this season and next season, and that will free up a little bit of space, hopefully for this season. If they're able to get Morgan Moses in the building, how do you think that changes your view of the offense's potential in 21? Now, maybe it doesn't do anything for your, maybe it doesn't change anything for you. Maybe you just look at it as, we're going to have better protection. The running game might be a little bit better, but that's about it. To me, the Morgan Moses signing could be, in my opinion, and I don't want to be a hype guy over here, but I really believe that this could be a huge, huge signing. It's late in the offseason, so I get that. He would still need to learn the offense. But this would be a tremendous signing. It would give us true depth on the offensive line, something that we have not had for years. And again, that right side is going to be pretty good. And we haven't had a good left and right side for many, many, many years. So what do you guys think about that? Morgan Moses coming in, if they were able to sign him, how would that change the offense? To me, the biggest one would be the running game. And I have a video coming out, this weekend, and I'll put that up on the screen right now so you guys can get a little excited, because I'm pretty fired up about this one, guys. I'm going to be pretty honest with you. I've been doing the Keys to Success series on the channel, and this will be the 5th video in the series. And I just got to be honest with you, the rushing attack could be pretty good this season. And I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about. Like, if you think about Jets football over the years and what that means, it's meant playing pretty good defense. But the one thing that I think that the Jets have had for most of their franchise's history is really good running game. And it's not been that way for the past, 5 to 8 years. We haven't really had a very good running game. And to me, that would be the most exciting thing that would come from the Morgan Moses signing, is our offensive line would be good enough on both sides and in the interior to get this running game really moving. Michael Carter from UNC, I could see absolutely having a great season. He's not going to get, 200 touches this season, I don't think. But even if he doesn't, he's going to be very, very efficient with his touches. Ty Johnson, I really, really like. I think he's being underrated. I think he should be considered the number 1 back, even though we signed Tevin Coleman. I think Tevin Coleman's a good veteran. He's coming off of a couple of injury-marred seasons, though. So really, I'm just counting on Tevin Coleman to be a 3rd down running back early in the season until some of these young guys can show that they can protect, that they can block against the blitzes. So yeah, I'm just feeling like, if we can get this running game going, man, we got a shot to be really nice on offense. And that's the thing that's just getting me super excited, is just the thought of having some real explosiveness on offense. Let's see. Got any more questions? Let's see. John Snow, he says, as long as I see some growth on offense, I'll be happy. We should at least be able to get near the top 20 in offensive production. I think that's a great comment to make, because here's the thing. Even if we were just in the top 20, that's actually an improvement. We have been bottom 5 in the NFL on offense for so many years now. Just moving into the top 20 would be a pretty significant jump. And so I agree, that would be a big move. And again, if we were able to get Morgan Moses, I think it would only push us closer to that mark. We do have a young team, so I don't want to put my expectations to unreasonable territory. I agree with you. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not trying to be one of those guys that is like hyping everything up and like, just getting super excited about every single move that the team makes. But if we were able to solidify the right side of the offensive line by signing Morgan Moses, I don't know if I could help myself. I think the running game could be very, very good if that signing happens. So I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. That's kind of how I see things. I got a couple more minutes here, guys. Still got about 14 people watching right now. If you guys have a quick question or a comment, or if you want to, give a call in, my phone number is on the screen right now. You can call into the stream. Be happy to take a phone call or two before I dip out of here. I got to go back to work, which totally sucks, but it is what it is. You can't really control that stuff. So what do you guys think? What do you think is the next move that's going to come? Personally, again, I said this earlier, I think Marcus May is the next domino to fall. I would like to see him on a 2-year deal, and anywhere from 10 to 12 million, annually, I think is fair. I don't want them to sign him to a long-term deal. I think he plays a position that isn't necessarily critical to a team's success. Of course, he's very good, so you don't want to just let him go. You don't want to just trade him away. I don't want to be that team moving forward that when a guy comes up on his contract, we just ship him off. That's kind of a bad way of doing business, and it sends the wrong message, I think, to players that may want to come to the Jets. They're going to think to themselves, oh, well, when I get to my contract year, I'm screwed. They're going to either trade me, they're going to cut me. I wouldn't want to join a team like that. If I were the Jets, I would, they need to start making moves to keep some of their best players. And that's kind of that's how I view this Marcus May situation. I feel like they need to prove themselves, and Joe Douglas needs to prove himself that he can take care of the better players on the team. And Marcus May is one of the better teams, if not one of the best players on the team. So you take care of him. You don't have to go crazy here. You don't need to give him a 5-year, $48 million contract. Give him something that pays him the way he should be paid. He's an older guy to be just hitting his second contract. So I would say you got to give him at least a 2 to 3 year deal, and you got to pay him. And I think that that's important. Players need to see that the Jets are willing to pay money for good players. What are your thoughts on Berrios and Moore, according to Connor Hughes, showing out at OTAs? I like Connor Hughes a lot. He's with The Athletic, right? I'm pretty sure he's with The Athletic, and he reports for the New York Jets. He also has a podcast, which is very good. My thoughts on them showing out is, hell yeah, that's awesome. Berrios is the 6th wide receiver on this team, and it's without a question anymore. Before, people were saying, okay, Berrios, he might end up being, the 4th or 5th wide receiver if we move on from Crowder. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Berrios' best case scenario is he's 6th wide receiver on the team right now. And the only way he's making the roster is if they decide to keep 6, number 1. And number 2, his other option is if somebody gets hurt. So to answer your question, to get back to your question, it's great. It's awesome. Berrios and Moore, they're both slot guys. And I feel like Zach Wilson has the accuracy and the timing needed to get the ball into these guys' hands. And so the one that I'm really looking forward to, and everybody is Elijah Moore. If these two can form chemistry and a true connection, it's going to be lethal. And it's going to be one of those things where Jets fans, they finally get what we finally would get what we deserve. We finally would get to watch some explosiveness on offense, and homegrown offensive talent. When was the last time the Jets drafted somebody on offense in the draft and they really produced and were an explosive playmaker? When was the last time? Santana Moss, Keyshawn Johnson. There aren't too many, guys. If you can think of somebody, throw the name in the chat. I would love to read it. There's just not a lot of homegrown drafted talent on offense by the Jets over the last 2 decades. So Elijah Moore gives me hope. He gets me excited because he's the one guy that we've drafted that I'm like, he is truly dynamic. I feel very confident in Denzel Mims as well. But it's a different type of vibe. I think Denzel Mims is the kind of guy that goes up and gets it. He can high point the ball. I wouldn't necessarily classify Mims as explosive, even though he does have good straight line speed. So with Moore, it's one of those things where, oh, sorry, the printer's going off. It's one of those things where I feel like Moore can do different things. He's a little bit more versatile. And I think pre-snap is where we're going to really get, be excited. Jets fans last year, we had to watch a team that ran the fewest pre-snap motions in the entire NFL last year. Adam Gase ran a very, very stagnant type of offense. Moore changes that. We can put Moore in motion pre-snap, can threaten the edge with these jet sweeps that teams are doing now. San Francisco, the Rams do it a lot. Kansas City obviously does it as well. We're going to be able to threaten the edge, and it's going to open up that inside zone running game as well. So, I'm fired up about Moore, man. Elijah Moore couldn't be more happy about the fact that he's doing well, that he's making big plays, that he's looking like he and Wilson can connect this season. I'm just tickled pink over it, to be honest with you. All right. Fully agreed, man. Wilson seems very good at hitting the intermediate part of the field, 10 to 20 yards. Yes, that's where I would like to see him be the best. Short stuff, you need to work on that. That's part of every quarterback's game. But I think you make your money, winning those intermediate routes. I think that's like Tom Brady, throughout his entire career, he's made a living off of the short to intermediate stuff. So if we can get him to, perform well in that range, I think that's massive for the team and for us moving forward. No worries, dude. I appreciate you coming in. This is a rare thing for me. I don't have the opportunity to do this. However, the good news is I am a teacher. And in 1 week, it's summer, baby. So I'm going to be doing more daytime streams. So if you're the type of person that enjoys a daytime stream, you're not really available in the evening, because we do a Wednesday stream every Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you're more of a daytime person, hopefully you watch this. And, I'll be streaming more. It's going to be happening a lot more often. And so hopefully we get some news, Morgan Moses, Marcus May, maybe a veteran cornerback. That's kind of how I am envisioning the next couple of weeks to go. I'm pretty much out of time here, guys. I do appreciate everybody coming in and checking me out. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Go Jets. See you guys next time.